and we are living large and living live. You are tuned into the very first installment episode of the fabulous TexVegas podcast here on the LV Network. I am John, and I'm joined by my lovely better half, who is a part of this wonderful project we're kicking off today. Chelsea is here.
Hey.
And we, along with Jeff, comprise to make up the fabulous TexVegas podcast here on the LV Network. So what is the fabulous TexVegas podcast? So I think we're going to take the time today as a little bit of an introduction, if you will, as to who we are, why we're choosing to do what we do, and why we're doing it for you here on these platforms and mediums and whatnot. Because we just, it's a part of who we are and we want to share it. But we're going to get into the who's, what's, why's, where's, how's, to what extents here in this introductory opening show. So sit back, relax, buckle up, and enjoy the ride. You are riding down the highway to the fabulous TexVegas podcast. Let's do it. Let's jump right into it. So we happen to be avid fans of the city of Las Vegas, Nevada, yes, which is not technically in the city of Las Vegas, Nevada.
It's Clark County.
Well, Clark County, but the strip is Paradise, Nevada. Crazy enough, right?
It is paradise when we are there.
It is paradise. And so if you're a fan of Vegas vlogs and stuff on YouTube, this is right up your alley. We are fans of those. We are fans of Las Vegas. We took our very first trip to the West Coast the day after our wedding. We flew out for a 7-day honeymoon, and it was kind of like our marriage is love at first sight. The love affair with the city that we honeymooned in was kind of like a love at first sight. Kinda. I mean, not so much for you. I think
it was more culture shock at first sight.
Why don't we? Okay, so let's tell that story. I mean, this introductory podcast has to start with that story. And this was back in the year of our Lord 2012. So about 8 years ago, this very month, we on our first trip into Las Vegas. Listen, and for those of you who have been to Vegas, this story is probably a likely story, and it's probably happened to you. If it has, please comment below on the YouTube channel. We want to, and we will respond to your comments, but please keep them clean and keep them kind, because if you are belligerent, I'm going to get rid of you faster than you can say what. So keep it clean, but comment if this has happened to you. So get on the plane, land, we're fired up, and I'm going to let you take over. We had us a shuttle.
Ready at the airport,
ready.
Yeah.
But, so here's what was cool. We had arranged a shuttle, and I think they ran the last one out, and there was nobody around, and so we got a sedan.
Yeah. We were upgraded to a sedan.
We were upgraded to a sedan. That was cool. But here, anybody that remembers Vegas pre-2013, 2014, the hotel that we chose as part of our Expedia package, this is how far back we figured out a way better way to do it now. But back in the day, Expedia for the win, right? Flights and everything. So the hotel, and it was a little bit of a nostalgia for me, that we chose to stay at was the Imperial Palace. Obviously, the building structure still stands, but it's not the Imperial Palace anymore.
Yeah, for those who are kind of new to Vegas or you've just recently visited, we are referring to the building that is now the Link. But then at that time it was Imperial Palace before they renovated.
They were updating. They were going to change the name to the Quad, which
they did. A few months
for about a year, and then they decided to change it to the Link to go along with this promenade. That was an alley that just had nothing there when we were there in 2012, and the High Roller, which we'll talk about in later episodes, was just a metal structure outside of our hotel window.
It was just being built.
But I digress enough. Let's get back to the story. We got our sedan, and they're taking us down Claval road.
You
Not even
remember
Las
what
Vegas.
road we
I
were
do.
going down?
I do.
Y'all, he remembers the craziest things.
Claval, because the best way to get to IP was to go up Claval and come in the back way because of the construction and renovation and everything going on. Las Vegas Boulevard wasn't the optimal way to get in there.
Yeah, the whole front of the hotel was under renovation.
Yeah,
so
it was.
You couldn't come in the front like you normally would.
Like the old IP sign that lit up in blue, well, you couldn't see any of that. It was just covered because they were in transition. So here it is. I framed it. They bring us up Claval and into the area to drop us off by the Imperial Palace in the back of the hotel.
Yeah, I remember not really seeing much because he didn't take us down the strip, so we hadn't really seen much other than, you know, the backside of the hotel. And when he pulled us up to drop us off, the first thing I remember seeing on the wall was a sign that said this area may flood. And
spoiler alert, one trip later we actually witnessed that.
Yeah. But it was funny to see that because, you know, knowing that you were flying to the desert and coming from Houston, Texas, where it does flood all the time.
Now you know where the text comes in.
It was interesting that, you know, we pull up to this area that may flood. And the first place we can go is into an elevator that's going to take us up from you know, this underground kind of back area of the hotel up to the casino floor, where we're supposed to then go find the registration desk, which is in the front of the hotel. And we are currently in the back side of the hotel, but we know none of this because we've never been there. So we don't really know where we are at the time. And we get on the elevator and there's a guy. It was actually a group of friends. I think there were 3 or 4 of them.
Oh yeah.
And
they were very, very, very happy.
Yeah. One of the guys was very, very drunk. And I mean, he probably really should have stopped drinking quite a while before we ran into him. But
now, for context, this is Sunday afternoon in Las Vegas, and it's about 1 p.m.
Yeah. And we get on the elevator and he can barely stand up. His friends are all laughing. They're all having a good time. They probably had some drinks themselves, but they're not quite as bad off as this guy. And this guy is holding, I mean, I don't even know what size drink that was, but I would say it was at least a foot tall and at least 6 inches around. And it's full of a green alcoholic liquid drink of some sort. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that guy has had so much to drink already. And now he's got this drink bigger than I've ever seen in my life in his hand. And I'm thinking, how in the world is this guy going to drink that? And so what's funny about this is I was not really ever exposed to being around a lot of heavy drinkers or even a lot of alcohol growing up. That wasn't something that my family exposed all of us to. I wouldn't say that we were sheltered away from that. It just wasn't part of our lifestyle.
And you married somebody who left that lifestyle behind for everybody's own good.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, this is 2012, so this was post-recession recovery Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And alcohol is very accessible to get in Las Vegas anytime. But back then, it was also very accessible, but also very cheap.
Yeah. And it's not like I knew people drank in Vegas. I knew this. I just was so shocked at what I was seeing when we entered the elevator.
So we're at IP, under renovation. It's about to become something different. We, in these elevators, were about there was one particular elevator that you wanted to get. Every other elevator took forever.
Yeah, the elevators were super
slow. Horrible. And so we get off of the elevator with Drinking McDrinkerson and the crew, and they're going off to further their alcohol poisoning. We're just trying to get to the desk to like get into our room. We the wedding was like, we were tired, our legs were done, we just wanted to rest some before we hit up the city.
Well, we were so excited about going. We got up like at the crack of dawn when our flight didn't leave till like 11 or 12.
Yeah, we were at the airport like 7:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
We should have known we were going to grow an affinity to this place. So we get through the elevator, and the large alcoholic beverage guy, and
we start walking through the casino. And now, there's all this noise. It's like lights flashing, noise, ting, ding, 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 just everywhere. And sensory overload, starts happening. So I'm seeing that like people who are very, very heavily drunk. We still haven't seen the Strip. I don't even know what the Strip looks like. And now I'm in this like somewhat smoky, because IP is an older casino, and it was definitely somewhat smoky. And
they've
got these
definitely
lights
improved the ventilation when they renovated it.
All
thankfully.
The noise going on, and knowing again nothing about Vegas. I'm like, well, where do we go to get to the registration desk? Because the way that we're coming in the back of the hotel, we've got to walk all the way through the casino to get to the registration desk.
And her loving husband saw a man wearing black shirt and black slacks with a name tag.
Well, he was standing out in the aisle like he was there to ask if you needed help.
So any of you that have been to Las Vegas at any point in time know where we're going with this. Let me set this up for you. Name tag, black button-down shirt, black slacks, standing in the middle of the casino. Not near the registration desk. In the middle of the casino. What did I do, folks? The first Vegas Cardinal sin. Excuse me, sir, where is the registration desk?
Yes.
And
Wrong choice.
Then it was on from there.
Are you guys here for the first time? Would y'all like to go to some shows? Are y'all interested in doing some shows?
Pro tip, there is no such thing as free in Las Vegas when somebody says, would you like free show tickets?
Yeah.
There is nothing free about it. You are going to have to pay the ultimate price, but we'll talk about that. Let's just keep the story going here. But I made the mistake of asking the guy for directions.
So he pulls us in quicker than anything. He's basically realizing that we're our first time. We're Vegas virgins, and he knew that, and he thought he for sure had somebody he could rope into one of those 4-hour-long timeshare sessions. And so he starts asking us a bunch of questions. We start telling him we just got married the day before. Next thing I know, he has our IDs, and I'm looking at Jonathan like, I just want to go to the registration desk. I don't want to do this. And we stand there for 20 minutes?
At least, if not more. We got hacked by the timeshare people.
Yeah, and he calls somebody. He's calling somebody because our last name on our IDs is different because we had just been married the day before.
Pro tip. If you get caught by the timeshare people, always have a different name than your spouse.
Just don't give them your ID.
Or don't give them your ID. But in this case,
say no and walk away.
the Vegas gods shine down upon thy, and because our names were different, he couldn't sucker us into a timeshare pitch.
So he finally had to let us go. So how sweetly of him to tell us where the registration desk was.
Oh yeah, he was like, "Oh, it's back over there. Follow that line."
And so we get to the registration desk. Of course, the line is packed. You've got people just because, again, it's all under construction. So you've got sanctions up, and people are feeding through these makeshift lines, and they've got these big pillars that you're working around that's holding the building up.
And they walk you next to the gaming floor, where back in the day, they had at the IP, their catch and what they advertised. They were like, we have deal-a-tainers. And I had no clue what a deal-a-tainer was until we were standing in the registration line for the hotel. And all of a sudden, this dude in a costume who was dealing blackjack just 5 minutes ago jumps up and starts singing Good Golly Miss Molly.
Yeah, and he's like screaming. And I'm like hitting Jonathan. And I'm like, it's Little Richie.
So Little Richard, the dealer,
who I thought was the real thing,
that just jumped up and started singing right next to us. Like, so yeah, sensory overload.
The guy behind us in line kept like scooting up so close that he was like hitting our suitcases. So now I'm terrified that he's like trying to steal my suitcase. And I mean, complete culture shock. I wasn't prepared for all of that. I mean, by the time we get to the registration counter and she wants to know if we want to upgrade our room. And at that point, I'm terrified of everything. So I'm like, no, we don't want to upgrade. I don't want to hear. Jonathan's like, do you want to even hear how much it costs? I'm like, no, I want the key to my room and I want to go to my room. And so we got to our room and I told John I wasn't going back out.
Yeah, no, the best part about Vegas was the room. That first trip, the room was great because the IP had what they called a love tub room, which you could fit like 8 people in that bathtub, man. I think the water bill alone had to kill that building for the people that would get those rooms.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, we're not small people, and we were both in there, and I think we could have swum around.
Oh yeah,
if we wanted to.
It was great. So actually not upgrading turned out to be a very, very wise decision on our part. But alas, they're no longer there. They took those out when they renovated the hotel. Bom, bom, bom.
Yeah. We also haven't stayed there again.
We also haven't been back there either. Because, like, we'll get into, in future episodes, we'll get into the Caesars versus MGM versus independent casinos and why we go a certain direction in a certain way when we go now, as we will be making our 10th venture out west.
It will be
go around
number 10.
We number 10 in December. We will be headed back out there. Pandemic be damned. We are going to our Vegas and get our Vegas on. But that was an interesting experience. We did not venture out of the hotel that night at all. I think exhaustion kind of set in.
We decided, I think I had a Vegas map app on my phone, and we figured out that there was a restaurant like on the either on the same level or on the next level of our room, and so we ventured out, got brave enough to go out of the room and go to that Mexican. It was a Mexican restaurant. It was off on another floor. It wasn't on the casino floor. And it was quiet. And I think it cost us like $50 or $60 to eat there. And the next day, we rode the monorail, I think, over to like Mandalay Bay or something. And we ate at a restaurant there. And it was like $50, $60. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until like the third day we figured out that you could actually go through the construction out the front of the hotel onto the strip and see the strip, and there was literally like McDonald's and Panda Express right there. We could have been eating so much cheaper, but we had spent like already $150 or $200 just in the first like few meals that we had been there.
I will say, passing the boot at the wedding did help because
yeah,
it was even in post-recession Las Vegas 2012. Yeah, we had a couple of expensive eating out ventures there, but we started getting the lay of the land, figuring things out, and I don't think she was ready to go back anytime soon, but we spent 7 days out there on our honeymoon, and so then we did like a 5-day trip the following September, right before our 1-year anniversary. And I was ready to go back after the honeymoon trip. I think Chelsea was ready after the September trip.
Yeah.
And so it's just developed from there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it definitely was something once we finally got out to the strip and we just started experiencing Vegas. It was definitely something that we fell in love with, but I think we just thought we'd never go back. We thought we had to do everything this trip.
That first trip we had to try to pack everything in. And I think that was a fatal mistake on our part, not just, taking the time to, when you're on vacation, you got to rest. And that was going to be our only vacation. leading into the next year because, we had saved up the time. Like, I had to borrow time from work to take the honeymoon trip. So, we were trying to live it up because we knew we thought we wouldn't be back. And, here we are.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know how they got the Bengay smell out of the room because I was rubbing my legs down with Bengay every day to just keep going.
We couldn't find one bottle of Ice Hot on the strip, so...
Well, I didn't know there was a Walgreens or CVS on every corner. Every other hotel had a Walgreens or CVS out there.
And now it's even worse. Now it's even worse.
So I paid like an exorbitant amount for this little tiny thing of Bengay from the little inside shop inside the hotel there. And man, I lathered myself every day so we could just keep going. And not wear out each day. And every time we came back to the hotel room, it was like Bengay just filled that room, that smell. I don't know how they got it out of there, but anyway, it was definitely a fun adventure. I think by day 7 we were definitely ready to crash.
So a couple of other first trip stories, since it's kind of been the theme of the introduction, the podcast. We were at the Treasure Island one night. We had found our way over to TI. It was not that far of a walk. We walked across to Mirage and took the tram over to Treasure Island. And I'm kind of the adventurous spirit. I like to gamble. I probably get that from the gene pool somewhere. Maybe it's my dad's genes, who knows. But I was not scared of slot machines. I was like, I'll sit down and play a little bit. Well, there was this giant slot machine, 777 machine. Big, giant. If you've ever been to Vegas, you're walking through, you see one of those huge, like 8 people could sit there. Giant slot machine. Everything's bigger in Vegas. Or no, it's bigger in Texas, but it's really big in Vegas. So here we are. I've got a $10 bill. Just, hey, I'll entertain myself for a little bit. I put the, oh no, it was like $1 or $2.
It was $2.
It was $2.
It was $2 because it was a dollar machine.
It was a dollar machine.
So we did it just for fun to say we played a really big slot machine.
Yeah, and so it was $2, and so I put the $2 in. First spin, didn't win nothing. Last spin, won like $4. And I was like, oh, okay.
It was $4 or $5.
I was like, all right. I bought myself a couple of bonus spins to cash out with whatever I put in, and
and I was
entertained for like 15-20 minutes.
I think I was telling you to cash out then, and you were
I was
like,
oh no, don't worry, I got this. And so I hit the button twice, nothing. And so I'm like, all right, look. It was $2, so I'm just gonna play it down. I hit the button and we'll get like $5 back. So I'm here. I got $5. So I'm like, okay. She's over here. Oh man, yeah, that's good.
I think we're winning big. At this point, I think, wow, we're really rich.
Let's get out while the getting's good. I'm like, wait a minute now. I mean, we're playing with house money here. Why don't we just stick around for a little bit? And so I hit the button like 4 more times. And on the 5th one, when we were about out of profit, I land $10.
So I reach over and really fast.
No. Hold on. It's like $12. And I'm like, okay, and I hit the button 2 times and didn't win anything. And the next thing I know, almost as like the hand of God coming from behind me, all I hear is, we can buy ice cream with that. And it's my wife, who we are like 3 days married, slams cash out on the machine and got our $10 out of the big 777 machine. Yeah. We take more money now than then. But it's just funny to look back.
I was so conservative then.
Yeah. It's like $10. And it's like, now she can't even have ice cream. But
I can't even eat ice cream anymore.
Let's go to Ben and Jerry's. It's right over there. At least if we spend the money over there, it's gone. But I've got ice cream. If you put it in that machine, it's gone, and you got nothing.
Consider it free ice cream.
So it took a while to build up the adventurous spirit within ourselves, but we've gotten it now. I wouldn't say we're expert gamers.
No.
I would say that we're not novice either. I would say that we're in the moderate category.
Yeah.
we know what we look for. We know what works. We know what machines we like to play. We know what table games we like to play. And
yeah, so I mean, I think that's a good segue to talk about why we go so much. Like, why have we gone back to Vegas so much? And it's funny because we get this question a lot. Like when we tell people, "Oh, like our favorite
you mean
thing
the
is Las
taboo,
Vegas."
the taboo of Sin City?
Yeah, like it's funny because some people will just say, "Well, what do you like to do there?" Or "What do you guys enjoy so much about it?"
So,
but then you have people who are like,
those righteous people who,
why do you want to go to Vegas so much, or what? It's how they phrase it, and you can kind of tell that they're asking because there's like a stigma there.
Yeah, let me for the record, since we're going to talk about the taboo, the stigma, the holier than thou's, I per se. I'm a Christian. My wife's a Christian. We have Christian values in our home. That's who we are, and if that's not what you subscribe to, there's no push here. Like, if you ever want to sit down and share a story with me about faith and whatnot, we're welcome to do that. But if that's not your gig, I'm not going to make you feel uncomfortable or push it down your throat. We're not those kind of people.
Yeah, that's not what this podcast is about.
That's not what this is about. But we have had people in that faith-based subsection who are like, why do you go there? As if it's the greatest. Now, it's called Sin City, but it's the most egregious sin in the world that a fine, upstanding Christian person would go to Las Vegas. Well, here's why we go to Las Vegas. My wife loves entertainment.
Yeah,
she would if she spent $0 on the tables, on the machines, or the gaming floor, she would spend $8,227 to go see Cirque du Soleil 85 times.
That's right.
Yeah, all of them combined.
Yep.
In Las Vegas, compared to where we live in Texas, at night, during the day, you can walk and feel like you're not only just getting exercise, but you're good. I can walk from resort to resort to resort and see different things and do different things. For example,
without breaking a sweat,
it's dry air. For example, at the Flamingo, did you know that they have a whole aquarium and animal like sanctuary for like actual flamingos and fish and everything? No, you wouldn't know that because all you think about Las Vegas is gamble,
drinking,
prostitution,
which isn't legal there, by the way.
Exactly, it's all you think debauchery, and it's not really that. What it is it's kind of a desert getaway with mountain ranges around. Like one of the reasons we like to go, and we'll get a different. Like everybody will be like, "Hey, I want a view of the Strip from my hotel room." We've actually requested a view of the mountains from our hotel rooms at times. I
mean, just seeing the sunrise over the mountains is just amazing. I mean, you're in a little desert, but you're surrounded by this beautiful mountainous area. And in Houston, all we do is look out and we see concrete. And then you drive a little bit and you see more concrete. And then there's another concrete freeway.
Followed by a shopping center.
And Vegas is just beautiful. You get the blue skies. It hardly ever rains. I think it's sunny 256 days out of the year. I mean, it's beautiful. And there's just an energy about it that when you land there and you breathe in that dry air, when you get off that airplane, there's just something about the beauty in the buildings and the architecture of the casino resorts, the lights at night, and to your point, you can just walk and walk and walk and walk, and I mean, best people watching place I think in the world.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And it's just there's always something to see. You don't even realize you've been walking 20,000 steps.
Yeah, I mean, you could watch people for free and save money on the shows half the time. There's some of the best variety of eating places in Las Vegas. Like if you're a culinary type, there's something for you at any hotel resort that it'll be different that you can try. That's another reason. that we like to go.
Especially for me, right? Because I have a dairy allergy. So I can no longer, just as we talked about earlier, eat anything dairy. So ice cream, cheese, butter, you name anything dairy, I can't have it anymore. And so one of the places, and again, I'm not being paid to say this is just my personal opinion. But we found it actually on our last trip there was Nacho Daddy, and they make all of their sour cream and cheese and everything, completely vegan. And so it's like one of the only places, it is the only place I can go and get nachos, like loaded nachos. And so it's definitely a treat when we go, and then we have a few other places that we love, but
and we'll talk about those in various podcasts.
Yeah,
and
there's definitely a lot of places that are allergy friendly that just have become kind of like, as soon as we land, that's where we're going to go eat.
I think my favorite pizza place in the entire world, and there's pizza places all over the strip, but take a trip down to Fremont and get off of Fremont a little bit and go down over by the downtown Grand, and right across the street is a little place called Pizza Rock. It is some of the best pizza I have ever had, and it's also gluten and dairy friendly. Like, Chelsea could have a pizza there and enjoy it, and it's just the freshest
really
ingredients.
Good food.
So there's places like that everywhere. So it's worth it for that alone. We did the Hoover Dam on our first trip, and the way we paid for it and did it, it was a bus tour that included lunch at the oldest existing casino in Nevada, the Railroad Pass, which was like number 2 gaming license in Nevada, and a trip to the Ethel Mars Chocolate Factory, and you got to do that, and it was a whole day. Like, we spent an entire day. We didn't put $1. Well, I take that back. At the Railroad Pass, I think we put a couple of dollars in one of the old school slot machines that spit coins out when you win, just to say we experienced the whole old school coin quarter vibe of the machines, and that was pretty awesome. We've got pictures of that.
I think we had our buffet there. We had a buffet lunch there. We got to eat there as part of the deal.
Yeah, it was part of the deal. We had to eat at their buffet, which was a basic buffet, but it was still it was awesome. There's things like that you could do.
We had a really awesome dam tour guide.
Yeah,
too.
The dam tour guide who drove the damn bus that took us to the dam. He was awesome
with all the damn people.
Yeah. And
it was really funny though, because like every time we'd get back on the bus from one of the stops, he'd say, "We're missing 2 damn people," or "We're missing 3 damn people," until they got on the bus. It was funny.
So it made you, it was it made you happy, that you chose to do it. And he was very, had a lot of information. And it was fun. That was a fun one. If they offered that package anymore, I would do it again. Because it was just awesome. The Hoover Dam was awesome. Just to see the ins and out, what makes that work. You see all of the water from Lake Mead, and that was worth the price of admission. There. The
other thing,
the Cirque shows, like we said before. Beatles Love is probably one of the only Cirque shows that interest me, just because I'm a Beatles guy. But it had you hooked from start to finish. But if the Cirque show's not your thing, there are small shows, different artist impersonator shows, and different theme shows, comedy shows. I mean, entertainment galore. There was a show called Beatles Show that we went and saw. That was a group that, it was a show of Beatle tribute impersonators, but they did all of the hits from all the different time periods and fan interaction, and it was really cool. There's all those type of shows in Las Vegas, so it's the entertainment capital of the world. There's a lot of sightseeing to do. You're in a desert surrounded by mountains. You can walk. I mean, food. There's a lot of reasons why you should go check it out. Yeah, if drunken debauchery is not your thing.
I mean, and yes, there is
that, but it's not as prevalent.
No, I mean, but there are things that, are probably inappropriate. You got showgirls standing on the side of the street. Like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
There are things that probably are not the most appropriate.
Don't take your 14 to, 14 or younger, or 15 or younger, or even 17 or younger. Just don't.
I mean, if that's what you want to do, fine. But what I'm saying is there's inappropriate everywhere. And if you take and you put the inappropriate aside, the little bit of inappropriate aside, most everybody in Vegas is there to enjoy the beauty of it and to have a good time. And so, you really get that experience when you're there. And I think that, you could stay right here in Houston and do just as equally bad things if that's your purpose. And so,
well, you can, and as we've seen in the COVID-19 era of, isolation and lockdown, anybody who's going to do whatever they want, given the chance, that you can do bad anywhere.
Yeah.
And so if, Vegas, it's no different in Las Vegas. So, but gaming, I think that's the biggest one. And I think that's the one that the people stick their nose up in the air at the most. Oh, you're taking money and gambling it and throwing it away when you could give it to the Clean Water Fund in Costa Rica.
But, I mean, is it really throwing it away? I mean, people go golfing and they spend their money golfing. People go to arcades and they spend their money on arcades. People go to the movies. It's $50 to take a family to the movies.
That's the argument. If anybody ever makes the argument to you, you're just throwing away your money, look at them and say those exact things. What hobbies do you have? How much does that cost?
Yeah.
As my work line starts ringing in the background, I'm supposed to be off today.
Yeah, I mean,
they must have heard me talking about vacations.
They're like, get back to work.
So, no, I'm not going to answer you. Leave a message.
We're going to have to cut this whole thing.
No, I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in. No, I'm leaving it in. We're leaving it in. Because we're going to just one take. They can leave a voicemail. That's the bottom line right there.
Wow. Y'all.
I don't golf. I'm not really a movie guy.
He is definitely not a movie guy, y'all. Like, I think Jonathan watches one movie per year with me.
So, if you're telling me, oh, how dare you could... I would tell that the same to you. Well, you don't have to go take your family to see that movie and spend $120 because everything is inflated at the movie theater. It's no different if I sit down at a roulette table and put $120 down and just play for my entertainment.
I mean, I don't want to get too deep into this. Does it become an addiction for some people? Yes, it does. But so does alcohol, so does pornography, so does anything else that, again, can be accessed anywhere else in the world if that person has that intention. And so, again, going back to the question, why do we go? We go because we love everything about the beauty of Las Vegas. Yeah. It is a beautiful place. You almost can't describe why we go because you have to experience it for yourself. It's a feeling when you're there. I mean, the other great thing about Vegas is you can go on $500. You can go on $5 million and it doesn't matter. You can have the red carpet rolled out for you on $500 if that's what you want to do. You can rent a limo. Back in the day, you could get post-recession Vegas, you could get a limo for $45. Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to do, So it's like you can be treated like a high roller without having to be a high roller or pay that type of money to be a high roller. And I just love that, like, when we go, I can splurge. For example, this next trip, I'm going to get my hair done. I won't spend $200 to get my hair done, cut and color and everything here because to me, that's just a ridiculous amount of money to spend. But I'll go to Vegas because it's part of my vacation money and I'll do it there because it's just enjoyment. I can sit, I can relax, I can be like, I'm in my favorite place in the world right now, and just enjoy the fact that, hey, I have $200 vacation money to put on this. I'm gonna get my hair done. Yeah,
exactly. And what you're gonna find, when we add Jeff to this component, you're gonna find, we're just real people doing real things that we enjoy to do. And just like the phone call in the middle of recording a podcast, we're real. It's real. We're real, and what we do is real.
I still think we should cut that out.
I'm not cutting it out. No. I'm not going to go through this whole spiel about being real and then edit. I'm a real guy, but I cut out this 20-second, 30-second chunk. No,
fair.
I'm not going to do that. But we're going to be honest with you about our opinions and thoughts. So what was this podcast leading up to? Well, you're seeing it on our YouTube channel, and by the way, you can follow us on YouTube, the Fabulous TexVegas podcast on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. We'll put our podcasts up here, but in December, we're going to venture out into the whole YouTube verse of vlogging.
Yes.
This is going to be our first set of vlogs. We're going to try to get as much footage of Las Vegas as we can, and we're going to meld it together and following in some of the stead of some of our favorite channels to follow, like Matt Bridger, who has not been able to vlog because he's stuck in the UK, stupid COVID. And we work to visit Vegas and others.
Yeah.
We're going to capture us being real in Las Vegas, and we're going to show you things that interest us. We'll show you, hey, if we hit that bonus, I will try not to curse like I did the last time when I hit. So I was playing the Dragon Link at Park MGM, and my wife, I hit the bonus, and it's the hit and spin. It's like you get the ball with the amount of money, right? That adds up to what you're winning, and if you fill up the whole board, then you win the jackpot. I've never seen anybody win the jackpot before.
No.
It certainly wasn't me at the park that day either. But I put in like $20 and I hit the hold and spin, and she pulls out the phone unbeknownst to me and is starting to record because she's going to take a video.
Yeah, Jonathan ruins a lot of my efforts to record things because he says things that are inappropriate at times.
In secrecy, but she's like, I didn't know she had hit record on the video. I thought she was taking a picture or whatever, and the first hold and spin hit, and like 3 balls popped up, and one of the balls was like $50 and the other one was like $75, and I was
needless to say, he got overly excited.
I was like, holy bleep, and she had to stop the video.
I was like, well, now I can't put that on
so I can't put that on social media.
We can't let people know that you are a backslider.
But anyway, I think I won about $200 on the Dragon Link at the park that day, and that was the start of a good gambling day. I think we did pretty good that day, and that was I was a trip a year ago.
Yeah.
This time last year. So, yeah, we're going to try to get as much footage as we can. We're going to put something together, and bear with us as we are putting this together. We will strive to get better as we go along. As like most Houston Astros fans know, that you can't always hit a home run to start the game or the series. So we're going to do the best we can.
Burn.
And if you stick with us, we promise great content. We're not just going to cover Las Vegas, although Las Vegas will probably be primary first and foremost. We also will document our cruise that who knows if we're going to be able to get on in April in Miami to go to all these tropical destinations that just sound so much better than here right now.
I mean, there's a lot of time between now and April, but then again, the last 7 months have felt like a lot of time where nothing's changed. So
I mean, we were scheduled to go to Vegas in May, and I thought, oh, no. We'll like 6 weeks. We just got to, everybody stay home for 6 weeks. It'll be fine. We won't spread it. The virus will die off because there'll be no more carriers, and life will be good. Boy, have we all been wrong. Dear Lord, have we all missed the mark where COVID-19 is concerned. or C19 or whatever you want to call it, the vid. I'll refer to it as the vid. We've all missed the mark on it. But the good news is Vegas is open for business.
Yeah, and I mean, things are getting better. I mean, they just this past week, they started opening up some of the smaller smaller venue shows. And I think that, you know, by December, when we go, I think there's going to be a lot more of a normal Vegas than even right now, what people are experiencing and reporting back. So
yeah, we've heard a lot of reports. We've seen a lot of different videos. I think they're making incremental decisions to open up more of the more things that will draw people back in. The bars are open again, if that's your deal. Shows are starting. Piff the Magic Dragon, by
yes,
God,
Piff
and
Mr. Piffles
is going to start. Like I think this week. I think they're limited engagement seating. I think they want to see how the ticket sales are going to do, but the governor has allowed like venues to have at least 250, and if it's a small venue that only sits like 250 or 300, then I think they've restricted it back down to like a 20% model, or whatever.
Thursday.
Yeah,
Thursday.
Thursday. If you're hearing this and it's after Thursday, well, then he's already started. But if you're hearing this before Thursday, one of those shows that'll be opening up is his. I think Absinthe over by Caesar's Palace is going to open up, which is an outdoor tent venue. So I think they can safely social distance people. And, you know, the whole mask thing is a controversy that we're not going to go into. But all I'm going to say is, if you're wearing a Golden Knights neck gaiter, chances are better than good. People are going to leave you alone because you're one of them. So that's the plan, is to wear the whole Golden Knights neck gaiter and just do what we got to do. I hear hand washing stations and sanitization is not a problem. I feel like they have enough sanitizer that they could clean the entire city street of Las Vegas Boulevard and have it be sanitized at this point. And almost all of the hotel resorts are open. I think Planet Hollywood opened last week on October the 8th. I think they were one of the last holdouts on the Caesar side.
Yeah, a lot of people thought they weren't even going to open. They thought they'd close down.
Honestly, and when we do our Planet Hollywood review podcast, you might be able to understand why we thought they probably weren't going to open back up. But we'll save that for another day, if you will. We're looking forward to this trip. We're going to get as much video footage, and I'm going to go to video editing school real quick, real fast. And all we're just asking is you give us a chance. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Let's just give us that follow. Let people know, watch the videos. We're not in this for the money. We're in this for the love of
just the enjoyment of doing it,
of travel and leisure, and especially where Vegas is concerned. That's why it's the Fabulous TexVegas podcast. We live in Texas. We love to visit Vegas, and I'm a podcast guy. I'm a media minor. I did radio and all these other media type ventures, and so this is a hobby for me. Vegas is a travel destination for us. We're going to do some cruising, some cruise vlogs, and we'll talk about gambling. We could talk about a gambling on a cruise ship versus gambling in Las Vegas. I mean, there's enough pros and or cons to talk about that.
Oh yeah, gambling on a cruise ship, boo.
We'll do hotel reviews from the hotels we've stayed in. Now we'll give them some grace if it's been like 8 years since we stayed there, or if they don't exist anymore. But we will give you our honest opinion. Our next podcast, and I'm going to bring Jeff in for that one, we'll talk about Jeff's first trip, but we can talk about, in an upcoming podcast, we'll talk about Caesars versus MGM. A lot of people are like one or the other, and if you have been on the Las Vegas Strip, you know that it is dominated by two like casino empire factions. You have Caesars Entertainment, and you have MGM or M Life, as they like to call it. We'll talk about whose hotels are better. We'll talk about who has the better players program. We'll talk about who currently gives us comps and why that is. So I think we'll line that up for the next show, and then we'll bring Jeff in at some point and talk about his first trip and integrate him into the podcast because he shares that love and passion for travel and especially for Las Vegas. This is how much he loves Las Vegas. Hates flying. And we'll tell the story about
we'll save that for him.
We'll talk with Jeff. We'll tell Jeff's first flight to Las Vegas story on one of the upcoming podcasts here on YouTube and our Podbean channel. But mainly we'll put it up here on the YouTube page to kind of keep some separation from another project that we did.
So 8 years ago tomorrow, we were getting on the plane to take our first trip to Vegas. So it's kind of fun to start our podcast today. And since it's our anniversary, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. It's been a rocking 8 years, and here's to forevermore.
Yeah.
I won't sing.
No.
I won't sing classy love music because I can't.
What did the gondola driver? He tried to get you to sing Justin Bieber.
Yeah, Justin Bieber. Yeah,
on our honeymoon.
No, and that was not happening. By the way, did you know those gondola drivers have to have vocal training?
Yeah,
lots.
They have to
go through a class. That's like extreme. But hey, it's something to do. I forgot about the gondolas. I didn't think about that. We talk about things to do. I didn't think about the gondolas.
We'll do like cool. A top 10 things to do.
Yeah. So I mean, there's going to be so here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to do one of these a week leading up to our trip in December, and then once we have come back from said trip in December, you'll start seeing some vlog videos come out. And what the idea behind that is after the vlog is posted. After he posts the vlog video, we're gonna sit down and record a podcast and talk about that video, and we'll load that right up next to it. We're gonna try to give you content as much as we can, and all we ask from you again is a like, a share, a subscribe, positive comments, reinforcing comments. Just let us know how we're doing. Tell us how we can improve, what you want to see, and if we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. We'll pose this question. You can put it in the comments of this video. What about Las Vegas in the vid era, the virus era, that you have questions about or want to see? And put those in the comments, and we'll do our best to kind of give you one full vlog of those things. We'll try to show you what's different about Las Vegas if you haven't seen it yet in this era of this virus. We'll do our best to show you some of those things. But for the next podcast, have your questions, and you can put those questions in the comments of this video about Caesars Entertainment versus MGM. Let's just get into why these two companies and which one is our preference, and which one do we think is better and has the better accommodations and things like that. I think that would be kind of a good segue into some hotel reviews as well.
All right.
Wow. We got through 54 minutes of the first.
That was a lot of talking.
First fabulous TexVegas podcast. What do you think so far? This is your first foray into podcasting.
Yeah. It's been all right.
I think we'll keep going, and we'll add Jeff to the mix, and we'll hopefully we get some audience participation and some questions. And here's the thing, we'll do a Q&A as well. If you would like to ask questions, put them in the comments, and we'll harvest those questions, and we will present to you a Q&A podcast. So,
all right.
For Chelsea, I'm John. This is the first fabulous Tex Vegas podcast here on YouTube and other forms of media wherever you receive your media. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, Viva Las Vegas, everybody.